I'm Lisa Bailey.
And I'm Patrick Bailey with iqless.com. Today is November 9th, 2016, and this is episode 4. And this is our first episode after heart surgery. Okay, what are we studying? So, what are we studying right now? I've been helping out with Brazil and, well, the map. They're doing that little map thing, so they keep having that contest and see if they can name all the
geography quiz.
All the geography quiz in Brazil and all North and South America, which you're still kicking our butt, but we're getting better. We know where Brazil is. And Argentina. Mm-hmm. Not doing so good in El Salvador, though.
No, you're not. That's
we know where Chile is.
Yeah.
But
that's Central America, but still.
Okay.
We're just studying what we usually have been studying. I'm not adding on anything new at the moment. Just kind of keeping the schedule consistent. And with everything that has happened in the past and with the holidays coming up in the future, I think a consistent schedule is probably the best thing for my kiddos right now. So, yeah, we're not really changing anything as far as what we're studying. We've done North America, South America. We're finishing up this week, and we'll move on to Europe next week.
So just steady as she goes.
Steady as she goes.
Okay. So that's it for what are we studying? Okay, what have we bought since last time? So here is our budget. And so we bought the drinking gourd.
That's in the purple. That's October.
Yeah, that's October and this is November.
So the drinking gourd isn't actually a gourd that you drink out of. It's a book study.
But it's a book called The Drinking Gourd, right?
It's a book
I didn't
called...
think it was a drinking gourd. It's
a book called The Drinking Gourd, and it came with a study guide.
There it is right there on Amazon.
Since Kendall, my daughter, finished her last book study on Anna... What is that? Anna Has a New Red Coat or something like that.
Yeah.
I grabbed another book for her. And so we started that this week. And she's read the first 2 chapters and is working on the study guide right now. So It's actually a book.
Yeah, well, I knew it wasn't drinking gourd. Okay, then liquid measurements. So we got some liquid measurements.
Yeah.
Which are right here, a big package of them.
So I noticed with the book that my son is going into with math right now, he's really diving into the metric units, both measurement and volume, really in depth, and I'm quite proud that he's really doing well with it.
Learn all the centimeters and kilograms.
Yeah, well, right now we're just doing length, and he's handling this on his own. I'm not even helping him.
Oh, good.
He's just taking the textbook and reading the lesson and just going ahead with the exercises. And then I noticed that after that we have to get into the volume. And a couple of math books back, we just lightly touched on volume in the metric. And so I just, went into my cupboard and brought out all my pictures of, that you put your juice and your drinks and stuff in, and they always have standard and metric. But I saw that since my son is going to get pretty in depth with standard and metric and volume, and my daughter is also going to touch on it coming up in about 2 weeks, I thought, I need to get something that's consistent. Not, a pitcher here that you used to put your lemonade in.
You actually know what.
And then, here's the skinny tall pitcher that, has quarts, and this one has gallons, and this. So I wanted to get something that's somewhat consistent and that they can visualize when they have to do some sort of exercise in the future. So.
But they haven't used it yet, right?
We have not used it yet. Okay,
so I haven't seen you guys fiddling with it, so okay. We just have it ahead of time. But for less than $20, not a bad deal. To have
and it looks exactly like that. I mean,
so it's got English and metric. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then, I didn't necessarily need the measuring cups and the measuring spoons. I really like the 5 big containers in the back.
So do they go inside each other? Or?
Yep.
Oh, so they all fit in the big one? Oh, perfect. That's
they all nestle. So, at least the kids will have ownership of something. And, I don't bring out all my plethora of pitchers and measuring cups. And so this will be theirs they can use.
Okay, let's see what else we did. So we're still paying for the recreation for the pool. So we're paying about $40 a month for you and the kids. Mm-hmm. And then next thing is iTunes. I like this because I don't have this one on the list. I can only spend a couple bucks on it. I got this book called The Story of Money.
And where did you get it?
I got it at the thrift store. And here it is on Amazon. It's like hardcover's a penny, I guess. It's probably $8 or $10 to buy used or new. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of the story of money. It's okay. It's okay. There's no good books. No. In my opinion. But it kind of goes through, hey, people used to trade, and then people figured out money, and how do you do money, and all this stuff. The only thing, and it's a good book, so in that respect, the only thing I have a problem with some books like that, they go, well, back in ancient times when people were dumb, they traded, and now we're more sophisticated. I'm going, we're trading right now. So I don't like them.
It's a teachable moment.
It's a teachable moment. So the book is good, so I use it as a sounding point. So we haven't been doing it lately because we've been a little transition after surgery. But before that, I was hitting them every day and going, okay, and reading a page or two. And then expounding on it for way too long. I had a timer for 15 minutes because otherwise I would talk too long. But we were talking about trading and different things and aspects. So we use it as a sounding board. It's like, hey, they talked about trading. Okay, and then what can you think about trading and how they do that? And then money and different things. And so we're by no means through it at all because we're going very slowly. But while we did that, we started thinking about some TV shows we like because we watch way too many cartoons and I watch them with them. So we thought about some episodes of different cartoons that teach about money and different aspects that they teach about money. And so I'm actually going to put the links up on the show notes about this to the episode on iTunes that we found. And we found 3 that we liked. And so I went to iTunes and I bought them because I just bought the individual episodes for $1 or $2. Well, I guess $2. I bought 3 episodes. I spent $6.45. Big money. And so they've already seen them before, but we watched 1 or 2 and we watch and we explain it more so as we do it. In fact, once I figured out 1 and told them about it, they thought of another one. So I thought of 2 and they thought of another one once we talked about, oh yeah, there's an episode of Phineas and Ferb that they talked about this. So let's see. I need to bring up my iTunes. So there's 3 we found. I'm sure there's more, but these are good. So the first one, there's Adventure Time. I like Adventure Time. And in Adventure Time, season 7, episode 5, there's a thing called Furniture and Meat. And so it's an interesting idea about money. So these guys, they've hoarded all this treasure forever. And so they decide that they need to go spend it. And so they take it to town, they start spending it. And the interesting thing I wanted to make a point of it, and they show it in the show, is how can you use money badly? And so they're using the money badly, and they're making people do bad things with it and all this stuff. And it gets a really interesting video on how you can misuse money. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. And another really good one is Phineas and Ferb. Season 8, episode 4, what's it called? Tri-State Treasure Boot of Secrets. And it's about trading. So their sister wants to go get this Ducky Momo thing, and the guy won't sell it. But he's willing to trade. But he wants this certain other thing. So she has to go to the other person who has the other thing and try to convince him to sell it. He won't sell it. He wants something else. And so she keeps going back and forth, and she's eventually to make 20 trades to finally get, But it makes the point about trading. It also makes the point about smart trading, because some people think, oh, they used to trade, and trading has all these limitations. And it does have some limitations, or it makes it more difficult, where they say, well, if one guy has this, the other guy has this, but if some guy has something you want, but you don't have anything he wants, if all there is trading, you're messed over. It's like, no, I've got my brain. And ancient people had their brains. They said, okay, that guy's got something I want, but I don't have it. But maybe someone else has something he wants that I can go trade for. And so the smart people, the smart traders would figure out how to broker deals. And so in this show, you see how she brokers a deal, and it takes her like 20 moves to get this whole thing. And so it's about trading. Very good example. And the last one I got was Teen Titans Go, which we haven't kind of got to this level yet because I think Corbin will get, he's old enough. Kendall, it might take a little bit, but when you start to realize cash is just a medium of exchange, and boy, you can write PhDs, you can get a PhD on that concept, and it's very interesting and hard to understand. But in this episode, in Teen Titans Go, Season 2, Episode 37, it's two bumblebees and a wasp. And it's a silly show, but they decide to not use money anymore, and the medium of exchange is now bees. So they were buying things with bees. And so it's interesting, and actually they do a really good job on what a medium of exchange is, even though it's rather silly. So we're going through all that, and so it's only cost me $6. It's a good lesson, so we're going to watch those as we talk about those things.
He's just excited he got to use his cartoons.
I like cartoons.
In a lesson. Can you tell?
Especially Adventure Time. I like Adventure Time. Okay, let's see what else we got. Laminating sheets. That's kind of a boring one.
Consumable.
Just a consumable. So we have a laminator. Whatever. So we have a laminator. We bought some new sheets, and we needed new sheets. That's all that was. Let's see. And then Make magazine. So we spent a little money on this, but I remember as a kid, my father had Popular Mechanics and Popular Science. And they were great inspirational magazines because you got them every month, and there would be little cool things and showing you futuristic cars and different things. And so they're very inspiring for engineering kind of things. So I went around and found the Make magazine. So it's for makers, people who are going to build things, sew things, who have 3D printers, who have built their own
gingerbread houses.
Apparently.
Star Wars.
Build their own little robots and things like that. So we decided to get it. It's bi-monthly, so every 2 months I guess we'll get this. And so we'll see how good it is. I think it'll be cool, because hopefully someday we get a 3D printer, and that'll be fun. Mm-hmm. But something sciencey, inspirational. So
we'll like it.
I think it'll be cool too. And then, of course, our monthly rec fees. That's all that we've spent this month. Well, not this month. Since the last episode, that's what we spent our money on. So we're actually building a cash hoard now. We got some money to spend something, right? So
towards that 3D printer.
Towards that 3D printer someday. Okay. Well, that's everything that we bought. Okay, what have we started since last time? And the answer can be nothing.
Nothing new. We just kind of stay consistent.
Okay.
With everything. We've got enough things going on. We don't need to add anything new.
Okay, so nothing started since last time. Okay, what have we stopped since last time?
Well, we stopped everything for a couple weeks. Before I went into surgery, I created three weeks of lesson plans, not really knowing what to expect because he's had to take over. And pretty much nothing happened, which is great. So we stopped everything for 2 weeks.
Okay, and we'll go over that more at the end when we're chatting. But aside from that, dramatic stop. We haven't stopped doing cursive. There's nothing we've stopped doing or something we don't like to do anymore. So we're okay. So aside from the dramatic stop, we have not stopped doing anything. Okay, anything neat that has happened? I know one.
I'll let you take this one.
Oh, okay. I'll start. You probably can fill in better than I can. We saw them. I had a feeling it would take another year or two before our kids started taking the initiative. Not that they're slackers, because they're not. But, when all of a sudden you realize, I can do this on my own. And so all of a sudden we didn't even tell them. They kind of just walked off with their work and started doing some work at night. So,
for example, last week, our son, who doesn't usually like to work ahead, and in previous years doesn't like to do homework at all, or work at all, figured out, first of all, he couldn't sleep that night.
That's what, yeah.
That was it. He couldn't sleep that night, and so he went downstairs and grabbed his book boxes, brought them up to his bedroom, and started to do work for the next day. He probably got about halfway through everything and realized the next day that he pretty much had about 2 hours of work to do and he was done. So he was done by 10 o'clock in the morning. And so he just had to do his chore and clean up his area, and he had the rest of the day to himself. So, the light bulb went off and he realized, I can work ahead and get this done and have free time. And they've done it this week. Today is Wednesday, and they have pretty much completed 90% of their work for the entire week as of right now. And I would expect them to work tomorrow. We'll do some stuff together for about an hour, and then they each have about a half an hour to an hour's worth of work. And then they're done for the week, which is great. They need to see the reward of working hard and working ahead. So it's kind of neat to see them, connecting the dots.
I figured they'd get there eventually, but I figured it'd take at least another year, not two, and then a light bulb will go off and go. I think they would do good, but if you told them, hey, go work ahead, but all of a sudden, just without even saying anything, it's like you just meandered off and got ahead, and it's kind of nice. Well,
and peer pressure can sometimes be a wonderful thing.
Kindle have the peer pressure.
Because they start to play off each other. If my daughter, who does not like to, she likes to succeed in everything. And so she saw that her brother got his work done early. She did not like that.
Oh, she had to win.
And so that next night, she brought her book boxes up to bed and started to work ahead. So a little friendly competition can go a long way.
I can see that. Okay. So that's the neat stuff that's happened since last time. Okay, what's been frustrating since last time? I mean, aside from all the surgery and all that stuff, but we'll go into that. But anything else? Because after the surgery, getting started up again kind of started light, and it wasn't. I don't recall a lot of frustration.
I don't remember getting upset.
Okay. Not too many pain. Not too many pain meds.
At least when it comes to homeschooling, no.
No. Okay, so nothing else frustrating? Okay, so... Okay, nothing's frustrating, so... Not since last time. Okay, chatting. So we've had a lot to chat about this time, because we were trying to do these every probably 2 or 3 weeks, but now it's probably been a month, because we had heart surgery, which we talked about last time, so...
I'm still here.
She's still here. Yeah, there was a lot of praying going on that morning, and thank God those surgeons are very good. There's a reason there's a chapel in the hospitals, right? So, but through the surgeon's skill and God's grace, she's here, and so we're happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Everything went good.
Very happy about that. So everything went well, and so we're recovering, and
it's been 4 weeks.
It's been 4 weeks, really. 4 weeks. So, the funny thing is...
Is it really funny?
Not funny. It's not...
The peculiar thing. The interesting thing.
Yeah, heart surgery. The interesting thing, though, is this homeschooling made it easier. Because what we did is we can shut things down and start things up. So... When the day of surgery came, we had people to watch our kids. And so I was there with you for the first few days, just 24/7 there. And since I can work remotely, I was working remotely there too, in between things. But we had an idea that, maybe it wouldn't, once we got through the recovery, she might be out for a week or so, but she'll recover. And then I can, depending on how she is, I can do some stuff with the kids and probably teach for a week. Then you'd be put back in the saddle. But that first week of recovery was not what we thought it was going to be. It's not as bad as some, but, you know, when she first came out of surgery, you know, she was weak as a wet kitten that had been beaten up. And so, you know, I had to feed her for a little bit with, you know, a little spoon. But she recovered, you know, so I stayed by her side a lot and rubbed her feet. That's what you're supposed to do when your husband is and your wife's in surgery. But the recovery went well, but we always, I don't know, we probably thought it was going to be better than it. We thought it was going to be easier than it was.
I thought I was going to bounce back a lot faster than what I did.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Yeah. So I would say, compared to what we thought you would bounce back, you're probably like a week behind that, maybe a week and a half.
I would say 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And so as a result, we just kind of went, well...
We just stopped.
I didn't teach the kids. They didn't take any classes. So the nice thing is we just shut down and didn't teach, which we can do because we're homeschooling, and we'll make that up on the other side. Mm-hmm. And our kids were fine. We were fine. And then when she came home, she just, you know, she chilled out for a week there. Mm-hmm. And then when she felt good enough, she started teaching, but teaching lightly. And it was funny because I'd go down there and she'd fall asleep. She was teaching and she'd fall asleep
on the couch
on occasion, and that was fine. But now she's back. I wouldn't say you're back to 100%, but you're not falling asleep on the couch.
No.
So she's, as far as her teaching level, what she needs to do, she's 100%. She can teach just fine now. And so it's amazing. It's been good. And it was nice to be able to focus on what was most important, which was you and the surgery. Recovery. And had we been in the normal school system,
way more stressful.
It would have been, exactly. Because I would have had to keep up with the kids' homework, and I would have had to shuffle them back and forth to school, and it would have been, I could focus on what was important. I didn't have to focus on the school. We would still be trying to make up, and we would be frustrated, and it would be a burden on you and a burden on me. And as it was, not that this was an easy time, it wasn't. But I didn't have other things adding to my frustration. I could just focus.
Homework, like communicating with teachers.
No, this has been, I don't want to say it's been easy, because it hasn't been, but as easy as it can be is what it has been. And so it sounds peculiar that if you're going to have open heart surgery, you might want to start homeschooling, because it turns out to be easier, aside from the open heart surgery part. Thank God we've homeschooled. It made it easier.
It was, you think about the recovery process and him and me but when I look at my kids, they're not stressed. Mm. They're not upset. They're not coming home, crying, being behind in schoolwork, worrying about this kid saying this and that kid doing this. It's just been very, as simple a process that we have made it. And I think that's why we're, keeping the curriculum the same. We're not adding anything. We're not taking away anything. Yep. In fact, the first couple weeks that I was out and I decided to start teaching again, I only kind of taught part-time. We said, okay, let's do math and let's do spelling and let's do reading and call it a day.
Yep.
And we did that for a couple days, and then we add something else. And by the next week, we were almost full-time like we were before surgery. So it was nice just to transition slowly back into it while I took naps on the couch.
Yeah.
And the kids didn't want to wake me up because they would sneak away and then go, watch TV or play video games.
The teacher's asleep.
Yeah.
Class is over. Isn't that a rule if the teacher falls asleep?
Yes. So it was good.
Yeah, and we're not trying to win awards by getting back in the game, as quickly as we can. It's like, see, we took it easy. Didn't do anything for 2 weeks. And then the next week, just slowly took it back in. Even that first day, we're like, you think you can do this? I think I can do this. And we'll do it halfway, half the schedule. And you were fine that day with a few naps. And I think we're good after 4 weeks now. And also during that time, to drive us even more insane, is the day before she went into surgery, I got an interview and I got offered a new job. So now I have started a new job.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing, because now I'm 100% at home. But it just goes to, we're going to end up being the poster child for the first year of homeschooling. Because of all the things we had an episode, we talked about everything that's happened. A death in the family, your father died. We've had 2 surgeries now, and I've moved jobs, and we've moved, and the list goes on and on. But with all these things that are stressors in life, right? And starting homeschooling, this has been it's been good. You would think that the homeschooling's made it easier. Right?
I think it's made it more controllable.
Controllable.
Yeah. We're able to control a lot more, which isn't, like controlling.
No.
We can just have a lot more control of schedules and movements and activities and things like that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to chat about? That's enough, right? That's kind of heavy. But we're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
We're happy. We got good surgeons. They did a good job. And everyone's recovering well. So, I guess that is it for episode 4.
Yay.
Yay.